Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wind Down Wednesday, episode 25. It's going to be a Zoom course, so you can take it from anywhere, and it will be similar to what we do here, except that we'll get to have some interaction. I'll talk about the chakras, we'll learn to work with the energy within each chakra, and then we'll also do meditation and sound, because sound is a fantastic way to access the chakras. Okay, so I'm very excited about tonight. And I'm wearing my sparkly, I'm not going anywhere for New Year's this year, so I'm wearing my sparkly New Year's shirt and my sparkly New Year's jewelry because this is my New Year's celebration. This meditation for tonight is designed to step into the new year by setting this intention of the highest good. So I'm going to start by talking about the highest good by first talking about why I don't like resolutions. So everyone likes to make New Year's resolutions, and I never really thought about exactly why I didn't like them until this year. This is the year that sort of crystallized in my mind, and I realized most of our New Year's resolutions are fear-driven. They come out of guilt, or they come out of fear. They come out of this scarcity thinking that we are not enough, that something about us is not enough, and we need to change it. And oftentimes it comes out of the feeling that I didn't accomplish this year. So there's a new year starting and now I really have to do it. And it's kind of a pressured situation. You know, this sort of stereotypical one is to get healthier, either to lose weight or start at the gym or whatever. And you'll notice, as someone who was a longtime gym goer, and also in my yoga practice, the first about 6 weeks of the year, the classes would always be packed. And then people start to let that go. And it's because that fear-based, that guilt-based resolution doesn't really move us. It doesn't align us with our divine purpose. So it's absolutely natural to want to do something at the beginning of the new year. It's a new beginning. It's a chance to do things differently. So that part of resolutions, it's the resolution itself I have a problem with. So the word that I use instead is intention. So intention is something that's done intentionally. It's done mindfully. And intention allows us to connect with our highest self, with the divine, and to step back into divine flow. So rather than making a resolution, which comes out of the ego mind, out of that kind of fear-based, like, oh, I'm going to do this, that white knuckling, I'm going to make this change if it kills me. Setting an intention is a more expansive energy. And words are important. I talk about that at the beginning of my book. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned that in these Wind Down Wednesdays, but words actually have a vibration. So that resolution word to me has kind of a fear-based vibration, but an intention has an opening vibration. It has an expansive vibration. It vibrates more in the space of love than in the space of fear, and that's what we're always going for. I use the phrase, this is how this came to me, I use the phrase the highest good very frequently on this show. I use it all the time in my own life, and I decided to talk about that, and then it seemed to be, as usual, divine timing, because it's a perfect thing to talk about as we step into this new year. So what do I mean by the highest good? The first thing is that we're letting go of the illusion of control. So we don't really have control over almost anything. We certainly don't have control over external circumstances. We don't have control over the way this year has gone, for example. This is a good example of that. And that illusion of control, holding on to that illusion, causes a lot of suffering in our lives. So when we say, I open to the highest good, that's a way of letting go of that illusion, acknowledging I don't really have control, so just let things unfold for my highest good. A lot of us, and I'm very guilty of this, but I have a hard time making decisions. It feels like I'm carrying a burden. And I'm not talking about morally clear decisions here where something's clearly kind of right or wrong. I'm talking about things that are more complex. So let's say stepping into a new opportunity like a new job, or even deciding what clothes to wear for the day. Sometimes my sisters and I call it getting caught in an OCD loop. So we get very much in our head about that. And sometimes it's like, oh, this is too much pressure. So stepping into the highest good, again, it takes that burden completely off of you, because we're turning over again that illusion of control that we don't really have to begin with. When you make a complex decision like a big life change, you really don't know a lot of times what is for your highest good. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But stating that intention opens again that channel so that we can receive intuitive information, and it lessens that burden on us, because the ego likes that. The ego wants that control, but that burden ends up standing in our way. We get in our own way a lot of times. So one of the things about this phrase, the power of this word, for the highest good, is that it allows us to release our attachment to the outcome. And my first introduction into this idea, outside of kind of reading about it in Buddhism, was when I was a Reiki attuned to my Reiki level 1. And one of the most powerful teachings of Reiki is to be not attached to the outcome. So we give energy, we channel energy, but we let the energy, that divine energy, flow through and make its own decisions about what needs to happen for the person on our table. And it's very hard. There's a hard lesson in that a lot of times, because as somebody who wants to help someone, if I have someone on my table, I want their pain to go away. I want them to feel better, but I don't have any control over that. So I let the energy come through me, and I step back into that kind of objective observer self, and I let the energy do the work for me. So there's an interesting scientific example of this. They did many years ago, now it seems like maybe 20 years ago or so, there was a study that came out about plants, and it was about prayer and plants. So they divided people into these groups, and the control group did nothing. They just grew plants. Then there was a prayer group that prayed specifically for the plants to grow and do well. And then there was a group that prayed just for the highest good. And the plants in the group that were prayed for the highest good, without any kind of, again, attachment to the outcome, without trying to direct that prayer, the people who just sent a prayer for the highest good, their plants actually did the best. They thrived and they grew the most. So that's an interesting kind of scientific example of how this vibration actually alters our physical reality. And there's probably some cool quantum physics explanation to that that's way over my head. So I'm going with the metaphysical part of it. And I wanted to talk, I usually give a personal example. This is an illustration of the absolute power of this intention, of setting this intention for the highest good. So I was seeing like an alternative health practitioner. I had been seeing this person for a while, and I was getting just this kind of uneasy feeling. Like, it just, sometimes when I went, I actually felt worse than before. And sometimes that happens when you're doing healing work, but there was just something off. Something seemed wrong about this to me. So I did kind of an experiment. The next time I went to see this person, I set the intention before the practitioner came into the room, only for my highest good. And all I did, there's a lot of, if you're familiar with energy work, I've learned many methods of protection and grounding and shielding. There's all these things that you can do. But all I did was powerfully state that, only for my highest good. I just put that out into the universe. And the practitioner came into the room and proceeded to get very frustrated because nothing, trying to touch different parts of my body, nothing was happening. The energy was completely blocked because that person was not working for my highest good. So finally, after a few minutes, they kind of said, well, that's weird. You're completely blocked. And I was like, I don't know. So that is, since that day, I have used for the highest good, if not daily, more than daily, because it is so powerful. And to me, that was a very powerful lesson in how powerful, first of all, intention is, set in that kind of intentional way. Setting an intention in an intentional way, that sounds kind of silly, but it's not just kind of like, for my highest good. That's not setting an intention. Setting an intention is being in a grounded state and saying, for my highest good, and letting that vibration actually reverberate into the space that you're in. I use this, you've probably heard me say it. I oftentimes will say in the meditation that we are releasing something for the highest good. So when we're releasing energy that in our system, we no longer, it's not doing us any good anymore, we set the intention to allow it to do good somewhere else. So just because something is experienced as negative energy to us, it doesn't mean that that energy is negative. It just means that it needs to not be in our system anymore. And so when we release it with that intention, then we allow that energy to go where it's called to go, where it can serve. And that's a very loving intention to have when you're doing this work, where sometimes, when we're healing, we're kind of releasing stuff that seems kind of dark and nasty. And so we release it with the intention that it be used for the highest good elsewhere. And that way we can release with completely, first of all, there's no guilt associated with it. It's not like, oh, this fear is going to go and infect someone else. Like, no, we release for the highest good, and that energy goes to where it's needed. So it may completely transform. It may go to balance something. We have no idea, because that's the next thing I'm going to talk about. And the last thing I want to talk about. I also use this during sessions before I see somebody. I always set the intention that I'm working for their highest good. And I use it again in my daily life all the time. So what does that actually mean? The highest good? There is really no good answer for that. Essentially, this is not something we can even conceive of. So it's beyond our human understanding. And it's a surrender. It's letting go and stepping into flow and sort of giving this illusion of control, opening ourselves to this divine flow, to whatever higher power, whether you believe in energy or God or just intelligent design, whatever it is, we're opening up and we're letting this flow into our lives for our highest good. And the interesting thing about this is that this taps into this, what I talk about over and over again, this potential of choosing love over fear. So sometimes our highest good, especially in the moment, I'm sure this has happened to everybody watching this. Sometimes something happens to us and it seems like it's bad. At the time, it's like, oh God, I can't believe this is happening. This is so awful. And then somewhere down the road, maybe it's 5 months, maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 50 years. We look back at it and say, oh, if that hadn't happened, then this and this and this and this wouldn't have happened. And that's what we're talking about for the highest good. We don't know what is for our highest good. And when we release, when we open up and we let that divine energy flow into us, then the things that manifest in our lives are so far beyond what our tiny little ego mind can even conceive of, because we're not in our tiny selves anymore. We're in this expanded connection to divine energy that manifests the most amazing things that we all deserve in this life, that we are just afraid to step into. As always, be gentle with yourself during the meditation. We are going to do a little bit of fear work just to kind of let some things go or acknowledge some fears. So if you have emotions come up, if you were here with me last week, thank you for being present with me. It was a very emotional meditation for me. I really wanted to make it through that song, but I could make it through it again. It reminds me so much of my dad, and I just felt his presence so strongly while I was singing that I was completely overcome. And that's okay. That's partly what this work is about, is getting into the body, getting into our emotions, letting things flow. That's everything I talk about. I use the word flow so often. And that's what this highest good is. We're setting this intention to allow the highest good to flow into our lives in whatever form that takes. And this is a form of faith. This is a form of, again, choosing love over fear, because it's very scary to admit that I don't know what my highest good is. I don't know what's going to happen next. That acknowledging that we really don't have any control. I feel like this year is such a perfect example. We're going into a new year, and in January of 2020, I don't think anybody foresaw what was going to happen for the rest of the year. And we really don't know that ever. That's such a good illustration on such a grand scale of the idea that we really can't predict the future. Oftentimes we don't know what's in our best interest because we're kind of in that scarcity thinking, we're in that fearful thinking. And so turning that over to the most loving energy there is, which is this unconditional energy that I call God or the divine, that frees us up. It frees up so much of our energy to start to live, to start to experience, to really be present in what comes to us in our lives, instead of being constantly in that fearful mindset, being more in that heart center, being in love and letting things flow to us. It's making me emotional thinking about it. So we are going to meditate now to set the intention to step into 2021 opening to our highest good in whatever form that presents. As always, I encourage you to sit up if possible so that you'll stay awake, but listen to your intuition and go with whatever position is calling to you tonight. Begin, as we always do, with 2 to 3 deep breaths, just like I just did, in through the nose. Sigh them out. Let this be an audible sigh. Let that sound vibrate the vagus nerve. Let that bring you into your body. Let yourself step out of that sympathetic fight, flight, or freeze mode and into the relaxation mode of the parasympathetic nervous system. Move around a little bit if you need to, if you're noticing any energy that's kind of stuck before we start. You can shake your arms and legs a little bit before you get settled. And as you're ready, get settled into whatever position you're in. Let yourself be comfortable here. Let go of all of the things that happened before this moment. Just for the next 20 minutes or so, let yourself be fully present in the moment. Don't think about what happens tomorrow. Don't think about what happens next year until we set our intention for it. Just be present now. And I want you to start tonight by becoming aware of your feet. You can wiggle your toes a little bit. Really be aware of how your feet feel on whatever surface they're meeting right now. Part of setting an intention is being grounded in the body, being present in that neutral state so that we can let go of the fear that comes up when we acknowledge that we have no control. So imagine that beautiful crown chakra at the crown of your head. Imagine that opening. And if you were with me last week, perhaps you remember that feeling of grace we invited in. Invite that in now. Invite that unconditional, glowing, warm, sweet energy of the divine to flow in through the top of your head. Let this beautiful, warm shower of light cascade into your brain. Feel your mind relax here. And again, let go of any thoughts of what happened up until this moment or what happens next. If thoughts come up, and they will, just let them float by. Imagine you're on a beach. You see one of those planes flying by with a little message, and oh, there it's gone. Just let thoughts go as they come up tonight. Allow this grace and energy, this love to flow into your face and your jaw. Let it come into your neck and your throat. Take a nice deep breath here into the throat, into the top of the shoulders. Sigh it out. And then allow that grace, that glowing energy of light to flow into your shoulders and your upper arms. Let it come into your elbows and your forearms, your wrists and hands. Allow this grace, this light to flow into your chest and your upper back. Take an extra breath here if you need to. Let go of some of the tension that you're carrying around, the burdens that are sitting on your shoulders and upper back. And let that energy of light and love flow into your chest and your upper back. Pause here for a moment and allow that heart center, that heart chakra, the center of your chest. Allow it to open. You can picture a beautiful flower opening its petals to a gentle rain. Whatever imagery helps, or just set the intention to allow your heart to open. Allow this love and grace, this divine flow to come into your heart now. Take a nice breath. Sigh it out. And letting the heart stay open here. Let this energy continue to flow into your belly and your mid-back. Taking a nice big breath here, really letting this energy fill your belly. And as you sigh it out, allow this energy to flow into your hips, to your pelvis, your tailbone. Really feel now your seat against whatever surface you're sitting on. Don't just think about your bottom here. Really feel it. Really let yourself feel what it feels like. Maybe you feel the pressure of the chair or the floor. Maybe your low back feels a little bit sore from activities earlier in the day. Just breathe into this pelvic region and let anything go. Sigh it out. Anything that you've been holding on to that you're ready to let go of tonight. And as you're ready, allow that grace, that golden light of the divine to flow into your thighs, your upper legs. And again here, really feel this part of your body. You can put your hands on your legs and notice the sensation of your hands touching your legs here. Let yourself come into the lower body here. This is a safe space. This is a grounded space. Allow that energy to flow into your knees. Take a nice big breath into your knees and sigh it out. And again, let yourself really feel your knees here. Maybe they're uncomfortable, and that's okay. Just bring some awareness to this area. Bring some attention to your support system. And bring some love into this area. Let this love flow into your knees. And then letting this flow of divine energy continue down into the lower legs, through your shins and your calves, all the way to your ankles and feet. And again, check back in with your feet here. Notice if you have a better sense of your feet than when we started. Can you really feel your feet against the ground here? And allow this golden light, this grace, this joy and love to continue flowing past your feet and down into the earth. Let this beautiful golden divine light mingle with the rich, dark, fertile soil of the earth. Let yourself grow a trunk or roots or whatever comes to you that helps you feel anchored to the ground here, to the earth. Staying completely present in the body as we set this intention. And as you come fully present into this moment tonight, notice any areas of physical tension that remain in the body. These correspond with fears that we're holding on to. Maybe you feel the fear, maybe you feel guilt or shame or anger or sadness. Look at anything you're feeling here, physically or emotionally, and identify whether there's fear at the root of it. And if there is, look at it gently. Don't judge now. There's plenty of time for that later. Don't do it now. And allow yourself to gently handle this fear. Maybe you hold it in your hands lovingly. Send love into this fear rather than running from it. Let it come fully present. Let yourself feel it. And then let this love and grace that we've invited into our space tonight hold that fear. Let it cradle that fear like you would hold something very precious to you. And notice if the fear softens, and if it doesn't, that's fine. It will when you're ready. And one more time now, checking in, noticing the physical tension in the body, moving a little bit if it helps. Encourage that tension to release. Send love into the fear that's underneath that tension. And allow yourself to recognize that you are divine, that you are in divine flow, that nothing can hurt you, and that this state is always available to you. And now in this grounded, calm state, in this loving, open state, set the intention to allow the highest good to flow into your life effortlessly. Affirm with me out loud, if at all possible, I open to the highest good in my life, in all aspects of my being, from this moment forward. I invite divine vision to show me the path for my highest good. I acknowledge my fear of stepping into this flow, and I send love. I love myself unconditionally, and I recognize that the highest good is meant to manifest in every area of my life. Hold this intention in your heart center and continue to affirm anything that comes to you now out loud if you can. That sets your intention to welcome the highest good into your life, to let go of that which no longer serves you, to recognize that you deserve the highest good in every moment. I open to love. I expand into love. I have faith in love. I open to my highest good. I open to my highest good. I open to my highest good. Feel your heart open. Invite that opening. Let it be gentle and loving. If there's fear there, it's okay. Acknowledge it and then let it open anyway. Let fear stand aside. Open your heart. And one more time, with your attention in the heart center, set your intention to step into the next moment, the next day, the next year, in the flow of your highest good. Let your heart stay open and reaffirm, I am fully present in my body. I am fully present and grounded in my body. I am open to my highest good, and I am grounded in my body. Allow your heart to stay open with that intention for your highest good, knowing the power of the protection that offers. And allow your crown chakra, if you choose, to stay open with the same intention for your highest good. And then coming back, scanning once more, letting that beautiful grace and light and love flow into your head, into your neck and shoulders, your arms, your torso, your hips and pelvis. Letting that loving golden light of your highest good flow into your legs, into your knees, into your feet. Hold this intention as you step into the next moment, the next day, the next year. Let this flow become a regular partner in your life. Slowly let yourself come back to your mind, gently, allowing it to stay calm, wiggling your toes, maybe wiggling your fingers and wrists and hands. Move your head around a little bit if you like. Just slowly letting yourself come back into your consciousness. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Let this intention carry through the rest of this evening and tomorrow and into the new year. Let yourself choose love over fear as often as you can, and know that each time you make that choice, the next time it will be easier. Thank you so much for being present on this journey with me. Thank you for allowing me to be vulnerable with you. Thank you for sharing this space and creating this amazing whole that is so much more than the sum of our parts. Thank you for stepping into our highest good. Have a beautiful rest of your night, a beautiful rest of your week, a beautiful start to the new year. And I will see you next week for Wind Down Wednesday.